I am not a crystal chakra kind of girl. And yet I found myself at a very, very heavy, challenging time of my life. And I was walking down the grocery store and the world was spinning. I had to physically keep myself upright. And I came upon something in that chakra kind of section of the store, and it said smudge spray. And it was essentially like a spray that helped to clear the negative energy from the air, okay? Right. Now, I just told you I'm not that kind of girl. And again, if you are, fantastic. I have a ton of friends who are, but that just wasn't me. So I was just desperate. I'm like, I'm gonna buy the smudge spray. I'm taking that smudge spray. And I will tell you, I went home, I smudged the heck out of things.
Andrea Lee Rogers, welcome to the American Glutton Podcast.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you about your book because I am constantly having to force myself to do all the extra little things. Like, for the majority of my life, I fought anything that was excessive. I wanted to be sitting still, watching TV and being fed. And now it's like I have to go out of my way to just make sure my body is moving enough. And it has become easier, but I'm always interested in more ways to do this. And it sounds like from your book, there are lots of other ways.
Yes. First of all, I love your story, and I think it resonates with a lot of people, right? I mean, this is why I do what I do for a living. I've been teaching fitness and in the wellness industry for almost 20 years. And I have, from a very young age, found the power of consistency of movement. So I started dancing when I was very young. And through that power of movement and dance and finding joy in movement, I realized very early on, and lucky to realize that early on, just how good I felt when I moved my body every day. And so because I started very young with a consistent habit of exercise and movement, when I didn't have it in my life, or when I stopped, or when I would stop dancing professionally and went to college and tried to become an adult, right? I was like, wait a minute, I don't feel so good, right? Like everything else in my life started to feel like it was breaking down a little bit. And then I went back and started finding myself in a career Pilates and getting back into movement because that was where I felt my best. And one thing that I always say is if you can find movement in your life, you will start to find other things coming together in your life, right? If you move your body, you move your life. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's very hard, I can't sell it to people enough. I use the gym now as a form of antidepressants. If I miss a day, the day suffers. And there are sometimes scheduling days where I'm not going to get to the gym, and I kind of got to go okay, a little bit more time doing positive affirmations in the morning because I'm going to miss that jolt of energy I get from the gym. But I'm like, I've had trouble before where when I first went to the gym, I felt like I had to punish myself. I felt like if I didn't leave the gym without, having to go home and lay down and ice something, I hadn't done my job enough. And now I've found this, it's just a completely different way of operating for me, a way of looking at it. I now go so that I feel better. I now have more energy. Now I do a couple really hard cardio days a week, and I don't tend to feel more energized after those. I'm kind of more.
I know those days, yes.
Yeah, but the average is certainly I leave the gym with a pep in my step. I leave the gym, having woken myself up basically. And so, yeah, totally. Anywhere, I have to fight this idea of efficiency all the time, like the elevator and parking, spending time parking as close as I possibly can to wherever I'm going versus going out of my way to park 2 blocks away or at the furthest spot in the parking lot. And just looking over at the byline for your book, you're talking about getting movement in while you're cooking dinner or while you're watching TV and stuff like that, which I think is great. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I love you just teed it up perfectly because I think most people feel that they have to either kill themselves in the gym for multiple hours a day, do workouts that they actually don't enjoy doing or feel good after, or it's null and void. Like, forget it. And if I don't go full out, hard as I can be, dying, can't move the next day, then I can't do anything at all. It will make no difference in my life. And I'm here to tell you that is bullshit. Like, you do not need to do a 1 to 2 hour workout every single day in order to get results. What you do need to do is find consistency in your movement. Okay. And so what I try to do and what I try to teach my clients, my members, is that you need to find the power of consistency by lowering your expectations. Okay. And I say that because you don't realize how effective it is when you show up every day for yourself in as little as 10 minutes a day. So, for example, when I decided to write this book and launch the book, I was like, you know what? I'm going to record 10-minute workouts to go along with this. So everybody who buys this book will get free workouts to go along with it. And I've never done that. I never have given my workouts out for free, but I did that because I wanted to show, hey, if you give me your time, 10 minutes every single day, you can be that person that actually works out every single day. You actually can be that person, right? And believe it or not, just in those 10 minutes every day, in 4 weeks from now, you are going to be a completely different person because you are someone that has just now for a month worked out every single day. And it doesn't need to be crazy or long. And guess what else is going to happen? Because you started your day with that mini workout series, you're going to have more energy. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to be proud of yourself. That's going to lead to a lot of other things and choices in your life that are doing better things for yourself. And by the end of that first few weeks, you're going to be like, you know what? I think I can do more than 10 minutes. I probably can do 20. Maybe I can do 30. And the goal with this is to just simplify things and remove those excuses. Because if like if I said to you, all you have to do is do a 10-minute workout, you really can't come up with an excuse. And if you do, you're going to feel like kind of a jerk. That you're like, I can't be that person that can't even move my body for 10 minutes. Of course you can. We can all move our body for 10 minutes. And it's going to be effective and it's going to be good for your body. It's not going to be jumping and taxing on your joints and ligaments. It's going to be a good movement and you're going to feel great after. Now, are there other ways that you can add in movement throughout your day? So there's something that I do. I call them movement snacks. Okay. They're little snack size, bite size moments during the day that you can sneak in some movement when you would have otherwise, like you said, found excuses to be idle, to just sit. So one of my go-tos, every morning I make my matcha. I make my matcha and I put my almond milk in the microwave. It is 2 minutes and 35 seconds every single day. 2 minutes and 35 seconds that I sit there. I hold on to the countertop and I start to do some knee bends. I start to do some lunges. I do maybe 1 minute on the right, 1 minute on the left, and a little stretch before my matcha is done every single morning. It's easy. I can do it. And believe it or not, those 2 minutes and 35 seconds make me feel better, like I just did something. Then when I'm going to make my lunch, whether I'm cooking something or I'm waiting for a TV commercial, or even if I'm sitting in carpool line like I do every single day to pick up my kids from school, I'm focusing on ab control, posture, stretches. I'm doing something just a few minutes every single day, little pockets throughout the day that make me feel like, okay, I actually value my body. I value my energy. I'm valuing my time and I'm giving myself a little bit of a little pep. It's like a little pep talk, for your mind. It's like a little pep talk for your body during the day.
And the consistency aspect, I think there is really important too. Like doing something. I think I've been the guy who has gone on a flight and gone like, I'm going to figure out a way to get my movement in on this flight. And then I'll go in the bathroom and do squats,
yes, I love that.
But I am not consistent with that. I'm consistent with going to the gym.
That's great.
But I'm not consistent with the little things. And so I think making it a part of the routine, like I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to get 10 squats in before I brush my teeth. Something like that would be beneficial to me. And I also just want to say, like, your 10-minute workout, I could do Tabata for 10 minutes and really throw myself under the bus. 10 minutes, you can get a lot done in 10 minutes.
Thank you for saying that, because I think there's a lot of people that, undervalue the effort in the workout. And
Right.
if you are doing 10 minutes of full focused mind body controlled movement, I can assure you those 10 minutes are going to feel like a 45-minute mindless workout, right? If you just show up and you start walking on the treadmill and have no idea what you're doing, and you give me 10 minutes of focused movement, like you're intentional with what you're doing, you're concentrating on how you're activating your muscles, you're giving it those 10 minutes, you are going to feel so good after that workout, and you're going to be shocked at how much you feel, and you're going to be sore the next day, and you're like, how the heck am I sore from 10 minutes? And you will, and you'll see, it'll add up.
Yeah, there's a huge difference for me between going to the gym and listening to a podcast or a book on tape and like really leaning into like, well, science says if I take 5 minutes in between sets, I'll actually develop more hypertrophy. And then I never even break a sweat, though I do all the work I'd wanted to do. And it takes an hour and a half to get my workout in versus some upbeat music. And I'm going like, I only have 35 minutes and I do the same amount of work and I'm just toast, you know?
And that's what I call full out. Okay. So I call that full out effort. Like growing up as a dancer, we would be told either to mark the routine or go full out. So my dance instructor would say, okay, everybody mark it. And marking your routine meant you go through the movement, you go through the motions, but you're not like giving it your all. It's not performance ready. And then when she would say full out, we were like, oh, okay. All right. We're going to show up and we're going to give it, blood, sweat, and tears are left on the floor.
Yeah.
And that is full out effort. And that is where you have to get honest with your effort. If you are someone right now who's listening to this and you say, yeah, but Andrea, I show up every day. I go to the gym every single day. I haven't, the scale hasn't moved. I'm watching my nutrition. I always say to those clients, let's get honest with your effort. Are you giving a full out effort? Just like you said, it's not a timing. It's not about timing. For somebody, a 25-minute workout can equal someone's 1.5 hour workout, depending on how you show up in that time. So I think that's very important to be cognizant of and have that self-awareness.
Yeah, I also think with stuff like movement and exercise, I think we are becoming, or we have become like desperate for such quick results, you know, and like,
oh, I know.
and even weight loss, which I think weight loss happens at a much more tremendous rate of speed than body recomposition or putting on muscle or having any kind of athletic ability. Like that's slow, that's grinding long work. And, you know, anybody going into like, I'm going to have a transformation of my body, right? Whatever that means, whether it's just weight loss or they want to, run a marathon or they want to pack on muscle, whatever it is, they want to do a big dance recital. Having had no background in that, it's just like, it's a lot to ask of yourself to want something within the first 2 weeks. Now you're talking about having a totally new body in a month or being a brand new person in a month. And I think what you're saying is you're going to restructure your life in such a way that you're more better off. But I do think there's going to be a lot of people that are just desperate for results. And I can't harp enough on your message of consistency and just doing stuff like this for the long term.
Yes. Just to be clear, you will not have a whole new body, but you will have a whole new take on your body's efficiency, what you can do with your body, what your body can harness, the energy that you can bring in by putting energy out. So I just was talking with a friend about this because we live in a culture of like more new, shiny, pretty, distraction, must have, like everything has to be. That's why we can't even watch a reel that's over 30 seconds because doom, I'm done. Like we have zero attention span. And then even more so combined with that, we have zero patience for results. We want to post something on social media and become a billionaire entrepreneur overnight, like everybody else has, right? Like we have these expectations that are just unrealistic. And when it comes to moving your body specifically, I think what I would encourage everybody to do is to lean in, maybe not enjoy, but lean in to the in-between. Okay. So find that joy in mastering something again. Like be bored. Allow yourself to like not have it all figured out. Allow it to be messy. Allow it to look not like a finished product. and allow yourself to just be a little bored in the process, because that's where results come, right? Back in the day, I did my first DVD. I feel old here, but I'm 44 years old. I did my first DVD, and that DVD was one single workout. And it took me an entire day to film that one single workout that people then played every single day for the whole year. And they mastered it and they got better at it. And why did they get results with the same type of workout or same type of movement every day? Well, because their body awareness became better. Their range of motion increased. Their strength increased. They were able to do more every single workout because they were able to have a level up strategy. And I'm not saying that you have to do the same workout every day. I think there's power and diversity of your movements as well. But I'm just saying that we have to get out of this mindset that everything has to be brand new. My last program that I just launched was 30 workouts for 30 days. So brand new workout every single day. And in my head, when I created the workout, I'm like, great, this is going to blast them for like a year or two, right? Because repeat. And afterwards, I remember all the members were like, okay, what's next?
Right. What's in February?
Do you think you mastered that one workout you did one time? You just keep going. I want to talk to you in 12 months from now, and you still won't have mastered that one workout. So, I think that's just as what you said. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is a very powerful point. We need to allow ourselves to get a little bored, get a little gritty, and have some patience to get to the other side.
Yeah, I read something that said that all human creativity comes out of boredom. Like, you can look at the brain patterns and that we're really killing creativity with our phones because it's constantly stimulating us, and like, we've got TV, we've got phones, we've got just this
distractions.
Constant distraction. And so there is something nice about allowing yourself to get bored.
Very powerful.
Yeah. And just turn off that brain stimulation. And there's something also really soothing about exercise, which I think does that really well. This is another reason why I've really stopped listening to books or podcasts while exercising, because it is honestly a distraction.
I love hearing that. This is something I've been preaching lately. So one of the components of my book, I talk a little bit about nutrition. And one of the things I'm asking readers to do is the first meal of the day. I don't care what time that is. I don't care if you fast and you eat at noon or if you eat at 7 a.m. when you first wake up. Doesn't matter to me. What I want you to do, though, is I want you to put away your phone. For the first meal of the day, you take your phone and you put it away and just give yourself those 10 minutes to actually eat and allow your mind to wander. I have in my drafts, I have a post on this right now as we speak, because this is so powerful. I have a plate that says, get off your phone for my girls, because this is exactly what you just described. Whether you're eating or moving, if you are constantly distracted, and are we tasting our food? Are we even digesting? Are we understanding how, satiety works and how we find that satisfaction, not through actually the food itself, but the connection between mind and body? Same thing with movement, the connection between mind and body. If your mind is talking and thinking, or you think you're leveling up your intellect, but you're also trying to work out, you're cutting yourself short on your movement. You're not able to apply the same mind-body concentration. Therefore, you are not able to activate and engage and get deeper into those muscles like you would if you just let yourself focus on that one thing. So I would highly encourage everybody to just, if you get one thing out of this podcast today, put your phone away for a little bit. Be bored. Let yourself wander. Let yourself think. That's where my greatest ideas have come. Honestly, that's how my greatest ideas in life have come. And not all of them come to fruition, but that's where I get creative. That's where I think. That's where I move my needle.
Yeah, I was raised by a mom who was a hippie, and so my rebellion from that was kind of like, I don't like any of the crystals and spirituals, like that's not for me. And so when I first heard about mindfulness and that it was like an eating scheme, it just made my skin crawl, and I was like, that is for sure not for me. However, doing like real self-analysis, I found that like if I'm sitting and watching TV or in a movie theater, I can eat nonstop the whole time. If I'm scrolling on my phone, I will not get full. If I'm on a road trip and listening to an audiobook, I can just constantly be putting something in my mouth. But if I sit and observe my food and practice this awful word, this cringy thing, mindfulness, and I'm just like present with what I'm eating, I really won't overeat, I mean,
how about that?
If it's so delicious, if it's just insanely delicious, maybe I will. But like if I'm thinking it through, if I'm being present with what I'm doing, I have more power over it than I otherwise would if I'm distracting myself at the same time.
Boom. Done. Stated. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I brought in a good friend of mine, Kara Glassman. She's a nutritionist and dietitian. She is part of the book as well. And she talks about the science actually behind that and how you actually, as much as you hate the mindfulness thing, it is true. Like it is there. It's facts. It's factual. And you will see that, your body is able to understand, process, and digest better when you are present. So yeah, I'm glad that you have that awareness. I think it's great.
I mean, it's an interesting thing too, to like, I don't think of the landscape of obesity as having a single epicenter, and things get bandied about online nowadays, and there's factions, and there's the people who are like carbs are bad, and the people who say seed oils are bad, and red dye is bad, and processed food is bad. I'm sure all of it plays some role. But I think also our distractedness plays a role, or it did for me at least, and so that's where that mindfulness piece comes in. And I still don't like the word, but I didn't like the word diet. And when I become clinical, when I try to put my non-empathetic sociopathic hat on and go, the word is just the word and it has no power over you.
Yeah.
It's like a useful word,
It is. Yeah. I know. I get that too with the word diet. I feel the same exact way. But yes, agreed. Yeah.
What are some of your other strategies that you're going on that this book is about?
So I would say one of the other standouts for me, and something that has been a powerful tool in my life. And funny that you mentioned you're not that type of crystal chakra kind of person. I actually write a sentence in the book that says, I am not a crystal chakra kind of girl.
Oh, wow.
And yet I found myself at a very, very heavy, challenging time of my life. And I was walking down the grocery store and the world was spinning. I had to physically keep myself upright. And I came upon something in that chakra kind of section of the store, and it said smudge spray. And it was essentially like a spray that helped to clear the negative energy from the air. Okay. Right. Now, I just told you I'm not that kind of girl. And again, if you are, fantastic. I have a ton of friends who are, but that just wasn't me. So I was just desperate. I'm like, I'm going to buy the smudge spray. I'm taking that smudge spray. And I will tell you, I went home, I smudged the heck out of things. I mean, I was smudging and breathing.
Is there like sage in it? What's in this?
You know what? It's funny. I actually still have it. I kept it, the empty bottle, as a reminder for how far I've come. But yeah, I had sage and good smelling, all the things, lavender, and, but that wasn't what it was. It was actually me pausing and intentionally breathing. Okay. So every time I sprayed it, I would pause, I would take a full inhale, I'd concentrate on my full exhale, and I would feel myself go from fight or flight, nervous breakdown, to rest, digest, calm, control. And I started to become aware of that. Okay, well, that smudge thing I did and that breathing thing kind of helped. Maybe I will do it again today when I have another moment of how the hell am I here in my life? And so that's kind of what I did for quite a bit of time. Every day I would smudge and breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe. And before long, I really started to understand how big of a role breath played. I mean, I had noticed it before in my life. I used breath when I was doing auditions, to kind of calm me and center me. But it was at this critical time of my life that I really felt like the world was spinning. And I all of a sudden had this like amazing tool that was like right there in my back pocket that I didn't need to pay for. I didn't need to like educate myself too much on. I didn't have to like download an app. It was just there. Yeah. And I leaned into it. And then I started to do more research. Then I started to realize the science behind breathing, the power behind breathing, and read books on breathing, and got fascinated by how the breath works and how incredible it is. And I still to this day say this is something that we walk around as humans every day dealing with this crazy stress and this crazy anxiety and inflammation of the body and suppression of our immune system, and all these things. And yet we have this tool and we don't use it. Like if I said to you right now, here's a pill, here's a magic pill. You can take this pill right now. And the second you get stressed or the second you start to feel yourself spiraling a little bit, you just take this pill, no side effects, all natural, and you'll just, boom, you'll feel so much better. Just give it 30 seconds or a minute, and you'll feel so much better. How many of us would take the pill?
Sure.
But if I said to you, okay, that pill requires you to intentionally focus on your breathing, you'd be like, breathing, schmeathing, that's ridiculous. That's a bunch of bull malarkey. Like, I don't, that's not going to work for me, but it does. And it's scientifically proven to. And it will help you to stimulate your vagus nerve. It will help you to get out of that constant state of stress. And it is something that if you start to practice now, when you're not in crisis mode, it is there for you when you hit crisis mode. It is there for you when even the little things start to give you, little hiccups come into your life. It is the most incredible tool. I recently interviewed a former Navy SEAL, an FBI agent, on the power of breathing. And now he used it for more life or death situations, right? And now he is a father and runs a business and a husband, and he still uses it every day. And he was dealing with post-traumatic stress syndrome and a traumatic brain injury. And he just described how this breathing with intention has truly, in some ways, just saved his sanity, right?
Yeah. Do you think, and I don't, listen, I have a storied history with breathing. I'd never had asthma or anything like that. But as a kid, there was an exercise once done in class where we were all made, and I was a little overweight kid who very much did not want any attention. I was not the class clown. I was the recluse. And there was a time where the teacher said, everybody close your eyes and just listen. And what do you hear? And I wanted to simultaneously not pick something that was like obvious, but also, I had so many anxieties about what I was going to say. I'd never wanted to talk in class. And they go down the list and the first kid's picked. And what did you hear? And they heard an airplane. Great. What did you hear? I heard, the air conditioner. And then the third kid said, I could hear Ethan breathing. And this crushed me. I was like, oh my God, it's because I'm fat. They could hear me breathing. I need to stop breathing. And so I got into the habit for all of my life of walking upstairs, I hold my breath. I have to forcibly tell myself when I'm lifting weights to breathe. I will just stop breathing. On an elevator, I hold my breath. If we're going 100 flights up, I'm holding my breath the whole time because I don't want somebody to hear me breathing. And so, I have done breath work classes where you feel like something spiritual has happened, like you feel physically changed. And and I know what you're saying is true, but I'm wondering if if it is the fact that you're flooding your system with oxygen, or if it's a hormonal response just from taking the deep breath, that something else is triggered.
I think it could be all of that. But I also think what you just described is first of all, fascinating, super helpful for so many people listening to this, because you have had this reaction, right, from your childhood. And so you can't even help it. It's like you don't even think about not breathing, but you're not breathing.
It's something I actively thought about as a kid, and it became habitual.
Second nature.
And it follows me today, where I will have to go, you're allowed to breathe. If they can hear you breathing, it doesn't matter. Fuck them if it bothers.
It's actually the opposite now. I feel like people that are breathing with intention, there's some level of, she's got her shit together. You know what I'm saying? Because what she's doing. So I would say, and then you didn't find that kind of kumbaya, haha moment until you went to an actual class, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of people. I was just speaking with a friend. We were having a conversation like this, and she was like, oh my God, when you said the word breath, I actually released my breath. I didn't realize I was holding it.
Yeah. it's intense.
Yeah,
like when you feel tense, you hold on to stuff.
Correct.
You breathe more shallowly.
Yes.
There's something so profound about taking a deep breath.
Right. And if you are constantly living in a state of angst and holding and like just barely getting that breath in, it's not good. It's not good for our body. It's not good for our system. But what my point here is, you don't need to sign up for a class and do an hour-long class or breathing technique class. If you would like to, I think it's great to learn the lessons. But again, same philosophy with all the things in my book: small moves, big life, small moves, big change. So this is something that you can do and everybody can do every single day, a couple minutes. I do not start my day and I do not end my day without breathing intentionally. Simple. Just like you get up and you brush your teeth in the morning, I get up before my feet hit the floor, before I reach for my phone, before all the things happen in my life. I just stop, I pause, and I focus on just 4 breaths. I do 4 breaths. I breathe in for 4 counts. I hold that 4 count, and I exhale for 8. Longer exhale. Stimulate the vagus nerve. I do it again. 4 counts in, hold it for 4. I exhale out for 8. I do that breath pattern 4 times. Or I pick box breathing, which is essentially 4 counts. You hold for 4 counts. You exhale for 4 counts. You hold for 4 counts. Hence the name box. Those are my 2 go-tos. Now I show a variety of options in the book, and I talk about the power, which ones are energizing, which ones are calming, but it's very specific. It's very specific for you. And those 2 have been my go-to. And I do it every morning, and then I get up, I stretch, and then I start my day. Every single night before bed, I do the same thing. I stretch and I breathe every single night. And I will tell you, when I skip those steps, I see a difference. That's when I wake up with the thoughts. That's when I can't clear my mind. That's when I get a restless night of sleep. It's so simple. And throughout the day, I do it. Like if I feel a cold coming on, okay, like just 2 days ago, I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel like lymph nodes. Like I'm feeling a little bit of a cold here. I go into daily intentional breathing because it helps to, improve your immune system. It helps to regulate stress, which we know is a big catalyst for, when you're stressed and your immune system is compromised, it's not a good thing, right? So I just kind of go into that, and I really use breath as like this powerful superhero tool that I'm like, oh my God, look at me. I'm lucky that I know that this thing right here that's already in my body, already here for me, is like can do so many powerful things for me when I need it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. In the breathwork classes that I've done, there is often intentional, I don't know what the verbiage would be, but you're making noise. You're going, you're
sighing it out.
Yeah. It's sighing and
like sighing.
That.
Yep.
Yeah. When you're doing 4 in or 8 out or any of what you just described, is that silent? Like, are you waking your husband up? Yes.
No.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
No husband, and no, I'm not waking anybody up. But no, you don't have to. I give an example of that in the book. So you choose. There's different times and different needs. But for me, no, I'm more of a hold it in, keep the mouth shut, breathe through the nasal passages. That's my focus. Okay. So that's what I do. Yes. Yeah,
because there is still some aspect of me where I'm like, I want to be able to do this in public, and I'm just not, I'm not a hippie enough to be like, yeah, listen to this.
I'm not doing that either.
You want to stress me out? Listen to what I'm going to do to make myself feel better. And it's like all the sighing and stuff. In a class, I understand.
In a class, I understand too, but that's the problem, is like, you're not going to do that at home. You're not going to do that in the go. Like I do it sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if people have a clue that right now I'm just focused on this, like I'm on a 12 count exhale right now. And now I'm up to an 18 count exhale or a 20 count exhale and trying to extend that exhale. And I've been able to train my lungs, and I've been able to find that expansion. And I feel this power in my body. I feel like my whole body gets energized after a whole series. It's energized and calming at the same time. So it's like a win-win. Yeah. So no, you don't need to do that whole, loud release and open the mouth. You can just choose a breath pattern that works for you, lean into it, and then just repeat. Consistency is power.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, will you tell me about your stretching?
Yes.
I don't stretch at all. My wife stretches.
Okay.
And I'm somewhat envious of her. because I think she probably feels better than I do.
She probably does.
When she gets up in the morning, like she's not as stiff. What do you do, and how did this begin, and why is that such a part of your practice? Why is that like a non-negotiable for you?
This is non-negotiable. It's one of the 7 practices in my book, and I discovered the power of stretching as a dancer. Right. I discovered the power through recovery after, intense, competitions. I also discovered the power of flexibility and mobility, and in alignment and in conjunction with strength training, the power that had. So a good friend of mine, his name is Jordan Side. If you don't follow him, you probably know him. He's a big guy in the weightlifting world, and he's got tons and tons of followers, and he's just the greatest guy. And I just did his podcast, and we were just talking, and because he, in the last, I guess it's been a year, just discovered the power of stretching. And he does it where he focuses on, like, twice a week, he does very intense stretching. For me, I do it every day, but not crazy intense stretching. So again, there is no right or wrong, but for my strategy, I focus on just every morning and every night, I take a couple minutes to just move my body. So, when you first wake up in the morning, everything's just like stiff. And no matter how ergonomically you sleep, or how great your bed is, your mattress, your pillows, or anything, you sit still or not in the best positions for your body all day long. You get that lactic acid buildup. You get, your body needs to move in the morning. And yet, what do? We just reach for our phone, or we start to brush our teeth. We go grab the coffee or whatever it is, and we don't give ourselves any type of movement. If you have ever had a dog, or you own a dog, watch what your dog does every single morning. What do they do when they get up?
Stretch. Yeah, it looks like a great stretch too, my dog.
Right. They do that downward dog, and then they do the chest expansion, and they shake it out, and then they move. It's instinctive. We are animals. We are the same beings. We need to move, yet we don't. We just get up and roll out and expect to feel good. So every morning, just give yourself a couple of minutes. I walk through some great stretches, but they're simple. I mean, this is what I do. I wake up in the morning, I do my breath pattern for 4 times, and then I reach up towards my toes. Ooh, it kind of gives me that whole feeling through my entire back, through my hamstrings, all the way down. I just roll and I come back up, lay on the bed, and do it again 4 times. And then I do it just a lateral flexion stretch. Simple. Up and over side reach, and end with a little chest expansion. And I'm ready to go. And I've started to get everything moving now, right? Like, I'm starting to just feel awake, especially on those days like today when I had to wake up at 5:45 to get my kids to cheer practice by 6:30 in the morning. It was like, I have to do that to get myself physically out of bed. And it just starts the day with the right intention, right? Not to mention the perks of actually feeling more mobile and flexible. And then at night, I take a little bit longer of a time. So typically at night, we've adopted this habit in my household. We've got our dog, my daughters, and we always play with Chetty in the night. And this has been a great habit for us because we go into this little room. It's a little storage room. The ceilings are still exposed, hasn't even been finished, has carpet. We store all the, Christmas and holiday stuff. And we just sit there and we play with Chetty, okay? We play with our dog. But what we do is we stretch on the floor when we play with them. So we'll do a straddle stretch. We'll do all these different stretches. And before you know it, we're like 15 minutes into stretching. We try and work on our splits. We do some planking as well. We throw some strength training in there. But every single night, we stretch our bodies. And before I jump back in bed, I'll do a little bit more hip extension because I sit a lot during the day. And I want to make sure that I'm really focusing on flexibility through my hip flexors. And then I go to bed. And so this has been a great pattern, and it just has helped me. I mean, I stopped dancing years ago. I'm 44 years old. I can still do the splits on the right and the left. I want to maintain my mobility. And because I know I give myself a lot of energy towards strength training, I need to balance that. And I need to have, a nice range of motion when I'm doing movements. I don't want to pull a muscle when I have to reach down to grab my dog's toy on the floor, right? So,
that's one of those crazy things where, like, I lift weights and I'm strong. Like, I don't feel any desperation to be stronger than I am. However, there'll be times where my wife will ask me just to move a piece of furniture, and I'm like, come very close to hurting myself, and it's not even that heavy. You know what I mean? Or
I know what you mean.
Getting up out of bed sometimes in the morning, I have to go slow because I'm scared.
And you feel so much older. Yes. Yeah. So this is why stretching is so important for that. And if you look at, I don't know if you've seen the documentary Blue Zones or you've read anything about,
sure.
Right. So we know about this. And when you study these generations who are living into their hundreds and beyond, they're not going to the gym. They're not taking gymnastics classes. They're not like focused like I am even on stretching every day. They are getting natural movement every day, right? They're in the garden, squatting down, reaching, moving. They're getting that natural stretching and flexibility throughout the day. And I think there's power in acknowledging just what you said. How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Is that how you want to feel? Because if you add 5 more years or 10 more years or 15 more years, it's just going to incrementally get worse. So if you can take control and just, again, if I said, here's a magic pill, here, you can take this magic pill. All you have to do is take this magic pill and you're going to feel so much better when you get out of bed in the morning. You're going to sleep so much better at night. You take the pill. But will you take the time to take 1 to 2 minutes to just physically give yourself a little movement? And you can combine it with your breath. Like it's like a 2-for-1 special right there and you get it all done.
Yeah. I just love the listen, I think you can find a scientific study to reinforce any perspective. I really do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I tend to gravitate towards and enjoy the science that talks about moving, that like really, I think Peter Attia says that moving beats every medicine known to man, and I don't think I'm like a universal adherent of Peter Attia's, but I really like that, and it resonates with me. And I spent so much of my life actively moving away from movement. I did, I think the reason I don't stretch today, and I really want to, is I was doing a movie and I was very overweight, and we had a football camp, and they put us through a proper football camp. And every day the football camp started with an hour of stretching. 1 hour. And
wow.
I was done. Like I couldn't do that.
That's
was just to get to the workout. And I would go into it every day going, it's just stretching. This is nothing, but it would exhaust me. And so I'm like, I don't have time to get pre-exhaust myself.
You don't have to do that.
No, yeah. I also don't think, I think I would be, it also doesn't sound like you're doing it for an hour.
No. And sometimes I take, a longer time to get more intense with it, but no, it's not, again, it's about small moves that add up over time. So if you are moving your body every single day, but what I love that you said is you're right. You can, I completely agree with you. Just had a friend that I was having a conversation last week, and I was like, well, you could find a scientific study or explanation on either side of any topic, but you'd be hard pressed to find one that says movement is bad for you.
Right.
Like, the benefits of moving your body are profound. It is a fact. You're going to feel better. You're going to have longevity. You're going to do something good for your body when you move. We are meant to move our bodies. We are not meant to sit idle all the time. So I think just knowing that, and then another thing is just having the self-awareness of what you have to do and then taking the action to do it, right? So for me, I noticed I needed to lean more into strength training, which I have started adding more into my life because that's something I need to do more of. And I was aware that I needed to do it and aware of what I wanted to, the benefits of it, right? It wasn't a physical look for me. It was I'm a very petite woman. My mom has, issues with bone density. My grandmother had issues with bone density. It's in my genetics. I know I have issues with it and I need to start focusing a little bit more on that. So, it's just knowing that I want to have the longevity. And so when you think about your life and what you want out of it, not from an aesthetic standpoint, but from a longevity standpoint, you just start now. Like they just start now because you're going to feel so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like I love the life I'm living now, and it's so radically different from the life I was living.
Yeah.
But it took a long time. I started dieting in 2002. I didn't get into a gym until 2004 after I'd lost almost 200 pounds. And only because my wife bought a package with a trainer. I would never have gone. I thought the gym was only for fit people. And I was like, well, I'll go to the gym when I'm fit, which is psychotic.
But that's how most of my clients are. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I didn't even have, I did this package with this trainer and I didn't even have buy-in then for myself. Like it took me so long to discover the joy, like what you're talking about, actually enjoying what I'm doing, and it's a gift that I don't know how to deliver to people. Like there's no guarantee. Like I swear to you, if you go to the gym every day, eventually you'll love it. I don't know that that's true, but I suspect that if you hate it so much you give up and you look for an alternative, like whether it's pickleball or a dance class like you do, or Pilates or hot yoga or something, or, find a walking club that just goes on walks. There's gonna be something that you wind up liking.
And I talk about this in the book, and I won't go into detail, but it's an acronym for FEEL. It's my acronym for like what you should do. You got to have something that's fun. It's got to be efficient. It's got to be effective and have longevity. So that's kind of like my go-to. And what you said is so powerful. I include a story of a client of mine, Sarah, and she lost 105 pounds with me over the last year. And she didn't do it overnight, and she didn't love it every day, like you just said, but she started by just saying, I'm just going to press play on this workout with Andrea today. That's it. I'm just going to press play on this workout. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't great. It was defeating. It was humbling. It was all the things that she thought it would be. But then the next day she's like, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to show up again. And every day she did it. And then she lost 5 pounds and she was like, oh, okay, well, I think I could do 10. I think I could try to go for 10. It was these small incremental changes that happened, right, over time. And it didn't happen quick, and it didn't happen, with intense satisfaction every time she moved her body. But she enjoyed the workout enough that she would show up again, right? She enjoyed the connection. And also we had an incredible supportive accountability group, right, that was encouraging her along the way through Facebook, through webinars, through Q&As. So I recommend that. It doesn't have to be what your friend did. It doesn't have to be what you saw, what you've done. It doesn't have to be what I've done. It doesn't have to be what you think is going to get you to lose the weight. It's got to be something that you actually go, you know what? I actually don't mind that.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be easy to do. And there's going to be days that you don't like it at all, but you really actually kind of enjoy it. And walking, so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful.
I think that there's something to that too. It's a point of view. My life in 2000 was consistently uncomfortable. From morning to night, there was just a constant state of discomfort that was profound. It was not a mild discomfort. It was a heavy, burdensome discomfort. Today, I trade moments where I think a can of Pringles would be nice to eat, and it's slightly uncomfortable that I'm not going to eat them. I would feel better in this moment if I ate that can of Pringles, and then that feeling goes away. And sometimes when I'm going to the gym, I don't really want to go to the gym, but I get through that moment of discomfort. And then maybe the gym is also uncomfortable. Tabata sucks. Tabata's really hard. And I'm uncomfortable. Even when I'm on my 10-second break, I'm uncomfortable. And then I'm done, and life is more comfortable again. It's kind of like a trade-off and a point of view on what is more uncomfortable. What is more, what would you trade? Would you trade a half an hour a day of discomfort for a life that is overall more comfortable? It doesn't always have to be fun. It doesn't, like this idea of find something you love to do. Or find something that you're just willing to do.
That's exactly it. It's mildly enjoyable.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to fun. Listen, here's the thing when I say fun. I think the first time you do it or second time you do it, people are like, you know what? There's a reason you like Tabata, right? There is a reason. There is some joy in there.
Sure.
Whether there's a lot of stress or all the other stuff that comes with it. My favorite workouts beat the hell out of me. They are hard. I hate them half the time. It is a love-hate relationship. But I actually, if I zoom out and think about the after effect, there is a little fun in there. I'm like, oh, I actually enjoyed myself on that. You gotta.
I hear you, but I for 2 years I rode bikes every day, many hours a day. I went and rode almost every stage of the Tour de France. There's something masochistic about that, and even cyclists talk about suffering. If you're not suffering, you're not doing it right. And so I'm now worried that there's some aspect of masochism where I'm like, no, I want to feel that. You know what I mean? And I have
there's a high in that too, though.
Yes,
that's
totally.
a whole another emotional conversation.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm the same way. If I don't get that burn in the class where I'm shaking and quivering and physically feel like I might get sick, I don't sometimes feel it. But yeah, you got to and what I say by that is you just got to figure out what works for you. And maybe that is what works for you, right? Yes. But you can't be doing the workout that you think you should be doing because that's what everybody else is doing or someone's telling you to do. But yeah, it's true. That's powerful.
Yeah. Andrea, this has been a great conversation. I'm really
agree.
excited about your book. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all this with me.
I really enjoyed talking with you.
Okay, talk to you later.